at that point, you're not there to play it safe. Like if
Yeah.
you're not taking risks, you're not competing.
Super empowering, you know. I mean, anybody who's done a CrossFit workout, you finish your CrossFit workout, and you're like, I'm on top of the world.
Yeah.
Like a hunger for competition and like that super intense structure, routine. I still had that desire.
Listen to the way people feel and the motivations for doing the things that they did. It was like they were describing me to a T.
I'm not trying to solve everything for you, but I know that sometimes you just need somebody to listen.
Learned the most is how to fill my cup by filling others.
Welcome to the Hungry Dog Barbell Podcast. Join me as I talk with passionate people about their life's failures and successes, and most importantly, what keeps them hungry for more. Boom. What up, dogs? Welcome back to another episode of the Hungry Dog Barbell Podcast. We are back on again. We have a repeat guest now. Now she's going to turn into a three-peat here. We're here to break down some CrossFit competition programming. Sarah, how are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you, Taylor?
I'm good, man. I'm tired. I'm still coming down from my past 2 weeks. 2 weekends ago, I competed in a competition, and in this past weekend, we held a competition. So, I'm ready for a little bit of quiet time on the weekends.
I hear you. I think I took a break from our competition social media account for like a month now. Like just don't even want to see anything pink for the next.
I hear that
1 month. Just give me a second with the pink. But we loved everything.
I totally hear that. I pulled a picture out of the top of my drawer this morning, and I was like, I'm going to put that right to the bottom for right now. We'll revisit that. Have you already started planning and looking forward to next year? Do you have dates picked out already?
So, as far as planning, the first thing that I start to do, and it's interesting, this is what our topic's going to be about, is like, I'd be like, oh, this workout would have been sick. So if any steps have been made towards next year, it's been starting to form some type of idea of a workout, which will change about 30 times between now and then, of course, before releasing them. But last year I picked the date a year ahead, and I was going to ask what you thought about that kind of thing, because I actually think that was the only thing that was not beneficial to my competition, was picking a date so far in advance, because I ended up having Wadapalooza qualifiers going on at the same time. People were telling me a lot of weddings, like the October date I picked was like hot wedding date. I still had a awesome turnout. In fact, I really don't know what I would have done if I got 10, 20 more teams to sign up. I don't know what I would have done. That's
a great problem to have, but yeah.
So anyways, we haven't picked a date. But I am looking as CrossFit releases its schedule, and Wadapalooza probably looks at that, and I'll pick accordingly. Not trying to step on anybody's toes.
Yeah, it's really good when CrossFit puts out that schedule. They dropped the one last week, and on the note of picking things out too far ahead, I have kind of learned from that also, just like you said. I don't like to go too far ahead. Like, I'm not looking at girls on girls like 2024 date at all. I kind of have a general idea of where it will be, just because of how Amy's always placed it, like sometime in that October, November kind of range, as like our last comp of the year. But outside of that, I mean, I didn't know Super Total's date until like actually CrossFit dropped their schedule. So that's like how I picked that out. I'm like a 4 to 5 months in advance kind of person for the scheduling wise,
Yeah. I hear that. For me, it depends on the event. I'm either like 2 months, 1 month, 2 month, or like if it's something big like this, I was like a year out and had a timeline, but I can still do the things I was doing last year without having a specific date, because everyone knows that October is about when I drop it. But I am thinking more beginning of October versus mid-October, because the weather was almost an issue for us, but we crushed it. Was. And we'll dive into the workout soon. And I know you said the same thing. We texted each other, best run comp for me yet. And I think you said the same.
Yeah. with that experience that you get from running each comp, you learn from things that you feel like you could have done better at. You build on things that you feel like you had strengths in. That's just kind of how it goes. At least if you're doing it correctly, and correctly in the sense of like leveling up or just keep climbing up the mountain. Not necessarily like doing comps correctly, because there is no like really right or wrong a lot of the time, except for based off what the consumer says and what the competitors say. But
Right.
I think the people know by now, but I did want to drop and say that this is Sarah Murphy, owner of Asbury Park Asbury Park Fitness, right?
Yep.
That's what it is. APF,
It's
and also the event
adorable.
director for both the Phoenix Classic, which is a same-sex partner competition with teams of 2 or teams of 3 for that one
They're
too.
both teams of 3.
Both teams of 3. So same-sex partner competition that was going to benefit the Phoenix. Go check that out. Rise Recover, and then also the event director for Babes and Barbells. There, that's going to be the ladies only 3-person team competition. There we go. So Sarah, what's up? Let's start to dive into this now. We're how many weeks removed from Babes and Barbells?
What is it? We're exactly a month away from when Babes started. So I'm gonna have to get used to the pink again and dive back into it.
Now that you're like 11 months out from next year there. So
Yeah.
we just talked about it beforehand, right? Like obviously it's the female only competition. Who does the program before? Did you handle the programming pretty much solo?
So I think this was the first comp I did that I didn't let anybody touch it. I didn't I did everything for it. Part of it was like a Sarah Murphy mental like, you know what, you have a vision for this, and sometimes too many cooks in the kitchen can steal away. But I did have I did have a tester team, and what I love about our tester team is they're all males. I mean, or it would be me and two of my male coaches. And I knew that being a female made it easy to program for all female comp, because I did use my base as an RX for this, which was helpful. You have your ideal RX people, and it differs per comp. So there were things that I was like, you know what, no one can complain about this, because I know that I can do that.
Right. I know how it feels already.
Yeah, it's doable, and this amount is doable, or this time cap is doable, which is cool. And then we'll have to get into this. I had a 3-person comp. I don't know if we want to talk about our first workouts. What do you think?
But what was your overall theme for the comp? Like, did it benefit anything? What was your first ideas when you're writing it down on your sheet of paper?
Okay, so last year I did have some help with the workouts, and that kind of like starts the theme, right? But Babes and Barbells was created because I faced some personal things where doing business with females was not welcomed. And I was like, what? I think I talked about this on one podcast. I have 2 brothers, so accepting strong females and doing business with women, the idea that wouldn't be accepted in today's society was mind-blowing to me. And I had another gym owner say that they didn't do business with 26-year-old women. So I said, okay, I am going to now invent my own thing that literally promotes female businesses. So that was the creation of Babes. So there's a lot of fire behind year 1, and we had over 130 athletes year 1, which is a pretty big deal. Over 130. And that was, Taylor, that was a 3-month plan. And it was amazing. Oh yeah. And October, because we wanted to support breast cancer. So we did donate money to the Connie Dwyer Breast Cancer Foundation. But if you look at our profile, everything is promoting female businesses. So Babes and Barbells this is Babes and Barbells competition, but it's not going to be the only thing Babes and Barbells does. Like, I see female business excursions and female business meetups and things like that during the winter when the competition's not running. This is just the beginning of it. It'll be its own brand entirely, not just a competition within Asbury Park CrossFit. In fact, the goal is to one year not even run it at Asbury Park CrossFit, so it can be this standalone thing that the women that strong females can celebrate in together. But yes, this year I teamed up with the founder of Compete for a Cure, Lindsay. She is amazing. So we did fundraiser pages, and the teams were incredible, and they raised a ton of money for Compete for a Cure. The competition raised over $5,000. And she also provides classes for those who want to train women who have breast cancer, which is she offers those classes, Taylor. So you might be interested in that. I know you've been itching to learn more about fitness, so that's another class to add to the list. So we supported
awesome.
we supported Compete for a Cure this year. I'll probably do it again next year because she was so great to work with and so supportive of our mission. And our hero Barbell stepped in with prizes for those who raise the most money and for our RX first place. And those kinds of companies, along with Bullet Weight Vest, who I'm sure we'll dive into when we get into the workouts, they were huge supporters. And they're some of them are Bullet is female and male owned and veteran owned. But Hero Barbell is male owned, and they faced some adversity with a bigger company this year, but they support us, and it's very cool to see all that backing for our mission to support female business owners and to raise as much money for those fighting breast cancer as possible.
That's awesome.
That was a lot, but
before we, I got it all in though, and I'm ready to come back for some more stuff too. Before we dive into the actual workouts here, my last question before that is, when you were sitting down to write the standards and the logistics for the different divisions, what did your ideal RX athlete look like? Like, probably not the person that's going to come on in second or first, right? Because those are usually going to be the outliers. But the middle of the pack people that are generally going to populate the RX. What did RX versus scaled look like?
So this year is different from what I see for future years, because I do see scaled intermediate RX. So this would be somebody who is a higher level intermediate athlete, I would say would be okay in our RX division. Does that make sense? Yeah. And then, so somebody who, could make quarterfinals, but maybe something like a super heavy barbell or really advanced gymnastics movement would hold them back. But I also made it in a way where only one teammate had to have the true RX movement. So like I did have 95-pound thrusters for reps, and I did have a ton of pull-ups, which isn't crazy. And I did have running with a 40-pound sandbag, which is heavy. And I did have cycling a 105 barbell as fast as possible. And I had 1 rep max movements, which meant the sky was the limit. So that you said those true heavy hitter outliers could do that. Yeah. But all my workouts were constructed in a way where not everybody had to have those skills present. We had double unders. If you're somebody who's like, I hate double unders, it was a workout that you could easily be like, that's fine. My other 2 teammates are good at it. They can do it. Because I'm going to crush this other component. And that was the beauty of having teams of 3 is if you were on that verge of RX, you could probably just do it and shine in the spots you needed to. And the other beauty of having 3 is the size of my gym. I could have 15 athletes on the floor at a time. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's 15 really athletes on the floor at a time versus 10. And that's a really big deal when it comes to planning a competition that runs on time, but also allows athletes enough rest, but also keeps them moving so they're not bored.
Dude, space is probably the most important thing when you're talking about planning these local events, getting into the bigger stadiums and stuff like that it's going to alleviate all your problems. But when you're in the regular gym, you got to definitely plan out all your space and everything there. Yeah. So let's dive into it now. Let's start talking about these first workouts that we talked about beforehand. What was your first workout? How'd you kick it off, Sarah?
So I have to start this one with saying that I sent out a survey afterwards, and one of the athletes goes, that first workout took a PhD to understand, but I loved it. So it was that confusing. So first you should know that yes, my workouts have a theme. They're all based off of a girl workout.
Okay.
So this first one was based off of a girl. It was based off of, and they're not going to sound familiar to you, Laura, which is she was an active FBI agent who was a CrossFitter in Florida, and she passed away on duty. And then also a mixture of Lumberjack 20, which I don't know if you know, but during the Lumberjack 20, you can look up the story there. There were 3 females who passed away. So they're one of the 3 that the 20 is for.
Yeah,
so,
damn.
Yeah. So this workout was for female. This one was for female veterans, and I did a whole thing on it on Instagram. And for those 2 workouts. And also I had Bullet Weight Vest. Scott from Bullet, this one's for you. You're amazing. He does not come out to a lot of events, but he heard about ours and what we stood for. And he was like, Murph, I'm there. Like, I don't care.
Hell
I'm
yeah.
like, it's this big. He's like, I'm there. So I had to incorporate a weight vest into this workout. So it was surrounding these. So what happened is athlete 1 would wear a weight vest, and they had to do 20 deadlifts and a 400-meter run. Okay, so they're running athlete A. Athlete B and C,
Athlete 1.
and they're doing this on a 5-minute clock. So when they get back, athlete B and C, now they can do their thing, right? So athlete A is like the go button for B and C.
Got it.
Yeah, athlete B and C then complete an AMRAP of Laura, that girl WOD. So Laura, we just half the reps, and it was an AMRAP of 15 calorie row, 10 burpees over the rower, and 5 power cleans. The RX was 105.
Oof.
And they kept going for the rest of 5 minutes. Athlete A, who just came in from the run, they're off on the side, and with the weight vest, they're doing 20 step ups and 20 air squats. And the reason we picked 20 there is for Lumberjack 20. And Lumberjack 20 Lumberjack 20 also has that 400-meter run, and Lumberjack 20 also has that 20 deadlift. So that person who ran their dedication is for the Lumberjack 20 movements. So that was the purpose behind that. And Lumberjack 20 was, I even have the names here, was designed specifically for Sergeant Amy Kruger, Private Francesca Valles, and Lieutenant Colonel Juanita Warman. And one of them was even pregnant at the time that they were killed in Fort Hood, Texas. 12 soldiers. Yeah, 12 soldiers and 43. So they were one of the 12, not 20. I apologize. During Lumberjack 20 on November 5th. So there was meaning behind that one. And then what would happen is the clock would beep, beep. Person B would now do the deadlifts and the run. But they did it with a sandbag, a 40-pound sandbag from Bullet. Yep. Instead of the vest. So that way only one person had to wear the vest, because I didn't want some people not signing up because they were like, I don't want to run with the vest. Only one of you has to. Which made it easy for Scott. Super easy for Scott, because he was like, oh, 1 vest per team. Like, let's get it.
That's easy. Yeah.
Yep. And that would repeat with the sandbag. They had to do the step ups and squats with the sandbag. The other 2 did the AMRAP, and then finally beep. The last person didn't run with anything, but they did the step ups and the squats with a 35-pound dumbbell. So it was gnarly on the legs.
It's progressively one athlete is doing the buy-in of the deadlifts and the thing, and then the other athletes can be working through the AMRAP while that's going on. Whew.
Yep. It's one of those workouts where on paper you're like, what? And then when you saw it, you were like, this is the most fun workout.
Yeah, it's chaos.
Watching those girls run in weight vests, like gnarly, and lifting them. And you asked how I design workouts. I wanted to do that. And I tested that one, but man, I wish I could have signed up for Babes and Barbells. Like, I looked awesome. So fun.
It's one of those ones that looks cool. Yeah. So what are the scores for this workout?
There are 2 scores. There is the AMRAP of Lumberjack 20, and there is the AMRAP of Laura. Those are the 2 scores.
What did you put into this workout first? What was at the very inception of it?
So originally A was just doing a 400-meter run, getting back, and the other people were doing the Laura. So Laura did come first. And I was like, I really had wanted to do a hero workout. There was a point in time where I almost got a rig tailor so that they could do a variation of Murph. That was first. It was gonna be called Mrs. Murphy's Chowder, and they were doing a variation of Murph.
And then you thought about the 5 hours you'd be outside putting that damn rig up.
That and I had pull-ups in another spot, and I wasn't willing to let it go. And I didn't want to repeat that. So also this workout allowed for me to have 8 lanes outside, which is huge. I had 8 lanes and 2 judges. Did I have 8 or 6? I don't remember if I have 8 or 6. And 2 judges per team because you have 2 AMRAPs going on, right?
Yeah.
So that was a big thing for it. And I had to, a lot of it was the weight vest. A lot of it was the weight vest was something I wanted in there, but I wanted it in a way that would be easy enough, but also showcase bullet. So there had to be more than just a run with those vests. I was like, there's got to be something else. And I saw a picture. If you look at like Bullet's website, there's a girl holding this sandbag and stepping up on the box. And I'm like, damn, you look so bad. Girl, you get it, girl. She looks like a boss girl. I want these girls to feel whatever that girl in that picture is feeling. So we're going to make them do something like that. So there were a few things that workout was played with a lot.
I love that. Like the cinematic part of creating the competition and creating the workouts there. That's a big part of like what I try to do too, you know, in all the different comps. It's especially with the flow of it and the setup and how things are going to be.
Right.
All right, here we go. Let's dive into girls on girls first workout here.
Yeah, I'm excited.
So similar to you, I had a theme at the beginning of doing girls on girls based off of girl workouts, you know, the girl CrossFit workouts, the different variations, I think for most years. And I kind of want to bring that back this year at the very beginning is kind of when I started off with that as. So workout 1. The original workout 1 was going to be, and it still kind of stayed this way, was going to be a version of Isabel, 30 snatches for time. Yeah. Along with Karen. Is Karen 150 wall balls? I think Karen's 150 wall balls. So it's going to be those two combined together. There was a lot more wall balls and a lot more power snatches. Broken up kind of however you wanted between you and your partner. And then another version of it, it had ascending weight in the snatches and still 30 reps split up between you and your partner. That's kind of like that's a horse that's been beaten to death. You know, everyone does that in all the kind of competitions. And the final iteration that I came to then was this version of the workout that we have. Before I had, I think 6 rounds for time with, I don't know, 5 power snatches and like 50 wall balls or however many would add up to the Karen. So it was still Karen. The final version that we have now is in an 18-minute window. Part 1 is for time, 4 rounds. You go, I go style, which means you complete a full round. Your partner completes a full round of 10 power snatches at 55 for scaled, 65 for RX, and 20 wall balls. Scaled had 14-pound ball to the 9-foot line. RX had the 14-pound ball to the 10-foot line, which I think made all of the difference. And I was super happy with how that turned out in the workout. All the ladies were used. That's initially I was going to do a 20-pound ball. We've done that for the brawl. We've done that. I mean, you see that in quarterfinals for the girls. They have to throw the heavier ball, but it's usually to the 9-foot line. I thought it would be much more devastating, to be honest, to make them throw a foot higher and something that they would actually have to like train for and do a little bit. And I think that you saw that in the competition day, who kind of practiced it a little bit beforehand and who kind of just figured they'd be able to throw the ball a foot higher.
I like that twist.
I thought it was a really good twist too. So we practiced this beforehand. Amy and myself did it solo with the longer 6-round one. And we thought it was more appropriate to make it an all-out sprint, for everyone that could hold on to all 20 wall balls, hold on to them. If you've never done that before, maybe push you to go unbroken on all 20 wall balls to really gas you and then send your partner in there. Part 2 to this workout, in the remaining time period, you and your partner both are building up to a 1 rep max snatch, and that can be any style, muscle, power, or the full squat. Heaviest lifts combined, so both of you guys are sharing one barbell. Heaviest lifts combined will be your score for part 2. They're both going to be fully scored workouts, meaning they're both worth 100 points. The goal, the stimulus for the first workout for most of the better teams are going to be around 4 to 5.5 minutes on that. So you have then another 13 minutes to lift. Most of us sat down for like a good 3 minutes, got our lungs back because it's like a definitely Fran lung kind of workout with the squats and the power snatches. And then I think there's some teams that were around like 9 minutes, so then they had like 9 up to like 12 minutes to lift. We saw a lot of PRs going down. It was exciting. People felt really warmed up by the time they got to that full snatch. They were already grooving. They were ready to lift. So yeah, it was really exciting. I love to do the ladder kind of thing where you spread it out on the floor. You have all those bars. It's a cool look, but I think my favorite is a partner aspect, sharing a barbell, building to a max lifts, because then you're like really feeding off the other person. I think that really pushes people to hit those PRs and all that stuff. I thought this was a really good workout. I initially had the RX barbell a little bit heavier. I had it at 75. I thought for one, I wanted people to go really fast on the workout, so I dropped it down to 65. And for 2, I had a thruster later on in the day for RX that was 65, and the scaled was the same weight. And I was like, it just makes sense to have the same barbells out on the floor. Like, I don't want to make a different bar just for one workout. If I can have them all be the same weights, I think that's the most appropriate thing to do,
Yeah, that's a huge part of it. And I don't think
for sure.
some people don't notice how much thought process that goes into it, but you also want to make that day flow for you. So
right.
like where the barbells go and things like that, we had to move our barbells, like 2 of them at one point, but that was it,
Yeah.
So I really like that it's 18 minutes because I had a 2-parter we'll get into because that's my second workout. But I like that yours was 18 minutes versus from 0 to 9 this, and then from 10 to 18 this, which means, and correct me if I'm wrong, some people were still doing the first part while others might have already started snatching, right?
Exactly.
Very cool. And so like you got to decide how long you had to recover from your Fran cough.
Yeah, exactly. So in practice, there was a lot of people like literally like breaking the bar all the way down, sitting down, changing their shoes, one of those kind of vibes, which is something that we also see like in the open, in quarterfinals. There's usually going to be that kind of stimulus. And to be honest, a lot of my stuff is based off of either where quarterfinals and the open has taken us, or where I can kind of see it taking us, as far as layout for things are going to go. But yeah, I was really happy with that first workout here. Let's move on to workout 2 for babes. I got it pulled up now. Oh, we got the barbells coming out.
I know it's funny you said Fran. So we always base off girl wads too. And my last few wads are some of the classics. We have Hot Flash Fran, and I get a little funny with the names. It's one of my favorite parts, but Hot Flash Fran is exactly what it sounds like. It's on a 4-minute clock. All right, which this was like a thing, like some people were like, we can't finish it in 4 minutes, and it's like, it's okay, like then your reps count and the outliers will finish quick. But 4-minute cap, the team completes 45 pull-ups while one member holds a loaded barbell in the front rack position. I feel like if you're putting on a 3-team comp, there's a hold somewhere in there, right? Because you don't want both athletes
for sure
resting. And then directly into partner A, 21 thrusters at the lightest weight, partner B, 15 thrusters at the heavier, and then partner C, 9 thrusters at the heaviest. So the RX was 65, 85, 95. So weights that weren't so heavy where you should really break them up, which means that they would really get that, especially if you're a true RX, like that 95, like 9 thrusters at 95 sucks, but you're going to do it unbroken because you're the anchor and you better.
For sure. You're here. It's time to do it.
Right. But not all all members had to have the pull-ups, and not all members had to have the ability to thrust 95. But if you didn't thrust 95 pounds, you better thrust 65 quick, right? So that was fun, but Hot Flash Fran, very similar to yours, only different because there was like a mandatory rest. Had 2 minutes, rest, and then it went right into Total Babes, which is a spin-off of the CrossFit Total. Yeah, which was interesting because I was like, Taylor, how often do any CrossFit competitions play with like the squat rack?
For sure.
They don't, right? And I thought about a snatch. I'm like, their snatch isn't warmed up. I thought about a heavy thruster, but we did like a clean complex for the Phoenix Classic. I'm like, nobody really likes heavy thrusters that much. So we did a mix off of Total Babe. So one member had to establish a 3-rep max front squat. It wasn't a back squat. We decided on the front squat for safety purposes in regards to bailing. A 1-rep max strict press and a 5-rep max deadlift.
Ooh, I like that.
Another
all one barbell?
All one barbell. And it had to be in that order, which was, if you know the CrossFit Total, it goes squat, strict press, deadlift. So part of it was that I wanted to keep that. But part of it was also I wanted them after their front squats to have to deload through the strict press, because I also wanted them to be able to move the bar safely from strict press down to the floor for a deadlift. So when people are like, why not have the strict press first? Well, there was a safety thought behind it. Like, I want you to move your own barbell down, and, you know, the heaviest strict press is maybe 135, maybe 155 for some really, really strong girls that showed up, but most of them were like 65, 95. Right. So you safely move that to the floor versus your crazy front squats that were getting to like 260s and things like that. So that was fun. Crazy.
And that's gonna give your deadlift person a little bit more time to like get ready to go up to the big weights there, you know. Because that's gonna be over pretty quick. Your strict press person.
It doesn't even take that much time. Yeah.
So how did that go? How was your overall feeling on that workout that day?
That was awesome. That one was that. My judges and volunteers are fantastic because you have to be on it, because there's that 2-minute rest, and then all of a sudden it's something else, and you have to be able to do quick math. You've judged one of my comps before. My score sheets are like, I think that they are like
pretty laid out, right? Yeah,
they're pretty laid out. They're pretty easy to get. So that was a big deal, and like they're already preset in the lanes, so you don't even have to write down the team's names or anything. So that one went smooth. And once again, 2 scores. I think the more scores you have in a comp, the better. Like, it allows opportunities for underdogs to rise, or like you can have a bad workout and still have your head in the game.
Yeah. So I have a question. This will kind of lead into my workout too. Was there any tags anywhere for either the workouts that we've gone over or the last workout coming up? Do you have any of that?
The athletes had to stand somewhere specifically. So I did release like a floor plan.
I see that in the chat too.
Yeah. So for safety purposes, if you weren't lifting, you had to be behind the rig. Yeah. Athletes were able to help with like changing weights and things like that, but you had to kind of be in certain spots in order for your, especially during the thruster one, like you were allowed to help change weights if you were the next athlete. The next athlete and the previous athlete were allowed to help change weights, but otherwise you had to be behind the rig, and that's just a safety thing. I was a stickler about which way the bar faced. Me and you have both judged higher level comps, and we know that there's a look that they're looking for, and it makes so that when somebody like Gabe comes in and takes videography, it just looks good, and he knows where everyone's supposed to be, and makes it easy for someone like that to move throughout your competition.
For sure. And it could just be a safety thing. So for the next person coming out, they kind of know where things are going to be. They can start planning just like how they're going to lift all those different things.
Right.
For your workout, hot flash, Fran, this is just like one of those smaller things that if you never planned a comp, you wouldn't really be thinking about. But you have the three different athletes doing three different things, right? Like everyone has to have a role. Do you think about beforehand, like overplaying to the point of like having the judges have some sort of designated way to decide who each athlete is? Because just like you said, we've talked about doing comps, and I've been out there before, and they've had to have the three different athletes do the three different things. And I'm like, oh shit, I really don't even remember that if this is the same athlete that already did something. Is this a new athlete? I have fucking no idea. I forgot because I'm locked in.
I mean,
or do you just trust in people that they're going to be like, yo, I'm going to send a different person to do all three different things?
it's the thing is, they only went once. So like, and all my thrusters were at the end. So like, let's say you had me, Amy, and Casey on a team,
right?
Like if I do the first set of thrusters and I come out for the third set, you're going to know. They're right there. That's not like there's no pull-ups going on in between. Right? You're going to be like, this girl, Casey, never did any thrusters. What's happening? Which, Casey, if you're listening,
now that I just said that on the air.
Yeah. So that
now that I just said that on the air, some team's going to try to pull that off. Watch. It's going to happen out there.
But the judges are pretty good. And the girls are good about being like, I'm athlete A, B, C. For the first workout, they did tell the judges, I'm A, I'm B, I'm C.
Oh, that's dope.
Because that
they came out and said it beforehand.
Yeah, well, the people who were getting weight vests were getting fitted, right?
Yeah,
they were fitted,
awesome.
and that workout was so gnarly where you knew if you were the one running with the sandbag, the weight vest or not.
Yeah,
because Scott doesn't mess around, man. He fits that weight vest to you. He's like, this
so
is
it's
how
snug, not flopping. Yeah, that's sick.
Yep, I'm very grateful.
So
but yeah,
into the second workout for girls on girls. Speaking of sandbags, right? So another way that I try to play these workouts, I usually want to try to do something a little bit different that people are doing. I had the girls' workouts in mind beforehand. That's going to come into play right now. And then also for the ease of judges and like how their day is going to go, how it's going to go to judge the event, right? So with that said, workout 2 now initially started off as some variation of Diane. I had a point where it was another 2-part workout that had a max deadlift. I don't know why I want to just do 2 max lifts in there. I had one partner doing one thing, another partner doing another thing, and they were going to flip flop and then each do the other AMRAP too. But then I landed on this. So workout 2 is a 9-minute AMRAP with 9 sandbag cleans. The cleans for the competition were sandbag to shoulder extension of the hips to the knees. You don't have to take that other hand off. You can leave both hands on. 9 handstand push-ups. Scaled had 1 ab mat. So in this competition, we went lighter with the barbells, but we required the scaled athletes to have a little bit higher level skill, 1 ab mat. And then they also do pull-ups later on. So there was that. And then RX did flat mat. And then the third movement was a box jump over. The caveat to this workout is that after the sandbag cleans were completed, for the handstand push-ups and the box jump overs to count, the non-working athlete had to be holding the sandbag. So we're essentially playing hot potato with the sandbag for 9 minutes. The sandbag had to stay off the floor for the whole time. And I also was very happy with how this turned out. Everyone was telling me that it was like there was no rest over this 9-minute period. If we didn't require both athletes to have handstand push-ups, so if you were the one that wanted to do RX, but you didn't have handstand push-ups, you could hold the sandbag for like pretty much the whole time. One of my friends was telling me that it turned out that she would do like back and forth. They would do like 2 cleans each, and then she would end up doing the last 3. And then she would hold the sandbag for the handstand push-up. She would drop it, do the 9 box jump overs, and then do the cleans again. So there was no break for her. It was box jumps, sandbag cleans, and holding the sandbag. And I was like, that's exactly what I wanted to hear.
That's a dream come true for me. You just described. I should have signed up. Look at that.
Right. Just holding that and jumping, right? A lot of grunt work pretty much going on in that workout in the short style. So now at this point, I've had them work out for only probably about 2 minutes in that first Metcon. So they got a sprint style workout. while this second workout is shorter, only 9 minutes duration, you're going to be working for pretty much a lot of the time. So it's going to feel like more of a middle duration workout. You know, there's a lot less place to just rest in that one. And then I have my long one that I'll talk about for the third one. But for this, going back to Diane, we still do have, it's reminiscent of Diane, right? Because we have that pull off the floor in the sandbag and the sandbag clean. We have that handstand push up. You're going inverted and you're doing press. And really to kind of glue those two things together, even though it's a little bit longer than Diane, I threw the box jump over just to get you a little bit more winded, because that's what you're going to feel for Diane, because it's going to be like a 4-minute workout, you know. I was really happy with that. I did it. Oh, the tag. We talked about the tag earlier. Gail did 75-pound sandbag. RX did 100-pound sandbag. And like I said, they had to stop up on the shoulder. For the first workout, I had a tag designated in. Since that was the you go, I go style workout. After the 20th wall ball, they had to tag their partner so they could start their snatches. For this workout, I didn't need a tag because the sandbag hole is going to designate when the person is going to move, and just for everyone else out there. The tags are so that the judge can have time to go from looking at one thing to looking at the next working person. And since I had the slowdown of the sandbag going on in there, the judge doesn't need like time to turn around and look, you know, like it's going to be slow enough already from that. And you can hear when that drop happens pretty audibly from the sandbag.
Yeah, nobody's moving if that happens. Yeah.
Exactly. And no one's going to slowly put a sandbag down when they've been holding it for 4.5 minutes. They're going to have to just let it go for that to happen. I was happy with that workout. We have 3 full workouts in now. I still haven't had any like things that I would improve on those 2 workouts, but there's one coming up in the third workout for me. Yeah. Back to Babes. So after those workouts, did you have another full workout before you guys did a championship one, or was that the last of the regular workouts?
We had a third workout. We didn't do a championship workout. I haven't run a comp with a championship workout. I'm trying to figure out how I would do that and keep people around and interested. Which maybe they would. Maybe everybody's fired up about Babes, but my third workout was a variation of Annie. This one I created immediately after the last comp. It's called Annie in the Alps.
Hell yeah.
Annie in the Alps. So we're breaking out jump ropes and we're doing sit-ups. And then the Alps is we broke out ski ergs too, which is not everybody plays with those in comps, but I had got them I bought one for Phoenix Classic and I was like, all right, we got to use this bad boy. So it was
right, I got it. We got to do it.
Right. So it was on a 10-minute timer. You had to do, and this was split as you wanted, 100 double unders, 50 synchro sit-ups for 2 partners.
Oof. 80
double unders, 40 synchro sit-ups, 60, 30, 40, 20 dubs, and 10 synchro sit-ups. So I doubled the double unders. I kept the sit-up number the same, but you had to do them synchro. And then so one person is working on double unders, and then someone the whole time is skiing. So like, let's say partner A is doing the dubs, partner B is skiing. Then when A is done with dubs, you know, two are doing the sit-ups, and then they can swap however they want, whenever they want.
Yeah.
So there were 2 scores for this one. That's something I did well this year, is there were 2 scores for every single like of the 3 workouts. So there was
more chances for points.
Yeah, there was the time of Annie and the amount of calories skied. Some people kept somebody on the skier the whole darn time, and and that was it. And some of those teams crushed it because they did that. Some people only ever had one person double under. Some people split them. I know. I was very proud of we have our 16-year-old stud. She came out hot with 100 double unders unbroken. I was like,
oh man,
awesome. So that one was how we ended it. And that one I had for a while. We didn't have a barbell in that one. I had barbell present in the 3 workouts previously, so I didn't need it. And then the rigs were closed. My rigs fold in and out. So usually my competitions go indoor WOD, outdoor WOD, indoor WOD. So one workout can be set up while the other one is happening.
Yeah, I really like that.
it flows beautifully.
Yeah.
But it was supposed to rain that day later on. And so we did outdoor workout, indoor, and my equipment crew was on it. Like I had an equipment crew this time around, just swapping out the ski, and it didn't no time wasted. We were done no later than 3 o'clock. I was calling podium. I think like 2:30, 3 o'clock I was calling podium, which is insane.
Oh, yeah.
We had like 100 and I don't know something, 120 something athletes, and we were done. And yeah, that workout was fun. It was crazy core tax, right? And that was what I was looking for. You had the ski, which was like core, right? Core and lats and shoulders. And then you had sit-ups, which was crazy core. And then you had double unders, which was shoulders. So there wasn't really escaping attacking your abs and shoulders. And that was the feedback I kind of got out of that one when we tested it. Originally, when I tested it, listen to this psychopath. I had 100 single sit-ups and then 80. Oh, insane. But it was way too much. So you had to tone it down a lot. But that one was a lot of fun. And at first I was like, let's just make it for time. And then I was like, you know what? My business partner, he makes some really fun workouts. Next time I make workouts, I'm going to have him more involved. He was like, dude, just have him go nuts on the ski if they finish early, and I was like, yeah. And that was cool to see them go nuts. And I had one of our stud volunteers, Ryan Clements, running the MC at that time. So he just created a lot of energy in the room, like
That's
shouting
awesome.
out everybody's calories. And the girls are just like head banging on that skier going nuts.
That's awesome. That's always great when you can make moments like that, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. You want a heavy barbell component somewhere, need high energy. I mean, I'm a big advocate of shouting out people and just showing you're grateful. Kareem comes to our DJs. Kareem, the owner of CFS, one of the owners, comes and DJs our event, and it's incredible. It is. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I love that.
What do you have?
Here we go. Third workout here. Now, last one, another one that I did keep my initial concept on. With this third workout, I want to bring in Jackie because that's a terrible workout for everybody. So, workout 3.
Yes, it is.
Jackie Hertz. We have 4-time, a 1K row to start it off. That's going to be waterfall style with one partner going. They do a 500-meter row, and then the other partner will do their 500-meter row. My standard was that you had to keep your feet in the straps until your screen said 500. And that you had to do all 500 and then get off. Like you could do 250, 250. And then after that, both partners work again. Now we have 25 synchro thrusters. That synchro at the top, fully locked out, 55 pounds for scaled, 65 for RX. So then that comes back into play from earlier with the change in the barbell weight. And then from there, we have 30 chest to bars. You could break those up however you want. Only one partner can work at a time. This is kind of where I have the one like negative feedback, like, oh, I wish I would have done that better, or thrown in this statement would have made it a little bit better. I'll talk about that after I finish. Then we go back up the ladder, 25 synchro thrusters, and then finish with a 500-meter row for each partner and time. There was a tie break after the chest to bars whenever you finish those. So just so I could actually have people like push all the way through and not go hard on the second half and kind of back off on the first one. Now, this one was personally my favorite workout, especially for right after it happened, because scaled, like it must have been really challenging for them, or it should be pretty challenging for them, I should say, because like they were hurting after the workout was over, you know, but they got off the floor pretty quickly. After the first heat of RX, for the last 3 heats of RX that I had, when the workout was over, I turned the music off and walked out on the floor. Like nobody was moving. Like the video that Gabe had, it's just everyone writhing on the floor. Like so the funny video that he had, he looked at me after he shot like the first few heats, and he was like, "Dude, the video is just going to start off with bodies." Everyone was just like they could not move at all on the floor, rolling back and forth. And I was like, this is exactly what I wanted, you know? So I love that aspect of it. It really ended the regular workouts off on the right note. Like, just in case you thought your soul was gone earlier, no, we're really just going to finish it off right here. Now,
Yeah.
the one thing that like I like, oh, I wish I had done this better. This is like the only thing that was a little bit off. I didn't have a designated waiting area or tag for this workout. Um, with the amount of chest to bar and pull-ups for scaled and the synchro thrusters, I thought that would separate it out enough. But like when you have a rig, you have a finite number of space, right? And with 6 people out of the floor, that's how many people I had in each heat.
Right.
Underneath the pull-up bar, there's plenty of space. But if one team occupies 2 different bars, so they can kind of go back and forth while there's no standard against it, and I should have put that in there. It creates like it takes it away from someone else's space, I should say. And like that happened in the middle of one of the heats. Like their team was going 1-for-1, and like some girl was kicking the other girl like during the kip. And I was like, I should have had him wait back behind the judge. That was an idiot thing not to do. But you live and you learn from stuff like that. But that was definitely the one thing that I was like, damn, I should have been like super clear in where everyone was going to be, because then that's like how you have the best communication, But dude, that I was so glad that he put that video out, because that's exactly what it looked like, just rolling back and forth. If you look at the background of stuff, you can see like something new every time, like a person rolling off and just straight up being dead. It was amazing. If you ever done Jackie before, like in a regular class, you already feel the pain. Now put it in a competition setting, the intensity goes through the roof. It was great.
We did a variation of Jackie last year. So it was interesting you said that. It was like an EMOM synchro thrusters.
Yeah.
But the amount of EMOMs that there were added up to the number of reps of thrusters in Jackie. So is it like, again, 2-person, 3-person comp? How do you make that work? And I liked how you said it. It was like your row was for time, and then we had like an EMOM thrusters with max, but ours was like an AMRAP of chest to bar.
Yeah.
So
I love it.
Very cool. And you guys had a championship workout, right?
Yeah, so I'll go over that now. So for the other 3 workouts, see, what did I have? I had 2 pulls from the floor, and the snatch and the sandbag there, 1 light, and then 1 what I would call moderately heavy for both the divisions. I mean, girls are probably used to throwing around a little bit heavier than the 100 by now. Then I had that squat and the wall ball there. I have another squat and the thruster. I have the cardio machine. I have the handstand push-up, like what I call moderate level gymnastics. So I want to go a little bit higher level for the championship, but also make it short again. So we had 4 time, 1 time through, starting off with 20 synchro burpees over the line. Partners just had to get both feet over a line. They didn't have to stand up all the way. The synchro for the burpee was at the bottom. From there, they did an 80-foot walk-in lunge in 2 shuttles, essentially. One partner went 20 feet out, 20 feet back with dumbbells up on the front rack. One partner went, second partner up and back. And then they had 40 GHD sit-ups. They could split those up however they want. Another 80-foot lunge, so up and back for each partner, and then finish it off with 20 bar muscle ups. So pretty quick for the top teams. The top 3 teams, I had top 4 go to championships. The top 3 teams were all done in like, I think Reese and Becky finished in like 4 minutes, and then up to like 7 for RX. And then scale, they had the same thing. I let them do the GHD sit-ups. I had different heights for the mats that I put down for RX and scaled, but they did chest to bar instead of the bar muscle ups there. So again, most teams done in under 8 minutes. So real quick, didn't take up like too much time out of the comp, but they definitely felt the effects of it after the rowing, the thrusters, that sandbag before, so the core was already super taxed. Some teams like Becky and Reese, Reese did all the GHDs, and then the next partner did like a whole bunch of bar muscle ups, So we had the higher level gymnastics with the GHD and that bar muscle up in there. Then we taxed the rest of the legs and core if you have anything left, with the burpees and the lunges, So I like that one. It was quick, easy. We hadn't done any GHDs, and we don't have a lot of them. So we only have enough for like top 4 teams, and that's what we do for championships. So I thought it all worked out. And I wanted to do some kind of like travel thing. I like to put that in competitions, like not just like a rep thing, but make you like, you have to work to get to this spot, since CrossFit is based off of, work capacity. I think the best work capacity is like you taking a load and traveling with it. So that was fun.
Yeah. It's interesting. So it's interesting. Like you kind of, right before this, you went through your checklist, and my checklist is your checklist started with like movements. You were like, we had an upside down, we had like a pull up, we had a sandbag, and it's funny because my checklist when I start making workouts starts with, all right, make sure that we have, and the movements are for sure true, but because it's teams of 3, I'm like, all right, we need an EMOM component, we need a relay, we need a hold, and we have to have a synchro, right? Like, is it a partner competition if you don't have like a synchro component, right? So like, then I have all those, and then I'll take a girl WOD and be like, whoa, it'd be cool to have a mix of this. Like, this is how it's gonna go. And like, let's say, you know, and Diane, I would have loved to mess around with Diane, but Karen is one I'm looking at for next year. Huge hint, right? And I say, okay, Karen, all right, and I like it written this way. That's our EMOM. Like, that's our EMOM component. And then like, okay, I need something else, like, and then, but it's so it's interesting. And then as I go through and like I make little tweaks, it's like we need the gymnastics component on the rig because you have to, right? And I'm not even a huge gymnastics person, but you have to have it. Like a machine, maybe 2, right? It's easy to overuse the rower. Right. But like, so it is fun. Like, I would say your GHD was like our ski, right? Like, how often do you see a GHD in a comp, or how often do you see a ski in a comp?
Right, exactly.
Probably see a ski more than a GHD, but you were able to incorporate it, even though it's something hard to put in competitions, because you put it as the finale, which means not everybody had to use them. Even though you guys have like when I was there, you guys have like 7, 8 GHDs, don't you?
We
Like
have 5 Yeah, we have 5 GHDs.
I would
We
say
have,
that's
I
more
think we
than
have,
the norm.
we have 6, but the one's a little goofy to use, so we don't usually use that for competitions or anything like that. You know, it's kind of like the fugly cousin.
Right, yeah, the fugly cousin. Everybody has a fugly cousin piece of equipment. We have a fugly assault bike, so that's fine. But
Exactly.
yeah, but building those, and then like I also think about like fun factor, which is like what is gonna make them go, that was a good time, I want to go back. And of course safety, like safety is first. I know we talked about like what mistakes you made, and at first I want to be like, none, I was amazing. Like, that's not true, right?
No, I'm past that point. I'm like, no, what the fuck?
Yeah,
What did I
no.
do wrong? You know?
No, so my big bugaboos were, and you reminded me this with your kipping, was when you have a max lift and you have some fierce girls on the floor, they're looking for 2.5s. They don't care. They'll go in lane 3 and take their 2.5. No matter how many darn times you got to tell them they can't do that. So like maybe color coding every other lane next year. I know that sounds like a lot of work, but I've also seen gyms do it for breast cancer and it looks sick. Like to have like pink plates or pink, white, whatever, tape on the outlines, or like be aware of maybe like a ladder where they are specific weights versus just build to a max, because you've seen my gym, the lanes are tight. So like it's easy to reach over. And then I guess my other thing was I made a quick change from the back squat to a front squat. I wouldn't consider that a mistake. I think that was a smart call. I think I had one lady complain about it, and I wanted to be like, listen, you go to a powerlifting meet, and at a powerlifting meet, they have like straps.
Yeah, levers and all that. Yeah.
Drop that, it's scary.
Yeah.
You know? So that was my big change, was back squat to front squat. And the other big change would be being smarter about how we do those 1 rep max lifts, because the ladies are fierce. And they'll take your weight right out of your lane.
Hell yeah, man. When people you turn into who you really are when you're on that competition floor, you know, it's all coming out of you.
And we did I don't know if you did some cool prizes. I know you did really cool prizes for your last one, but I think the coolest thing for me this year, I always get really excited when I hear it's somebody's first competition. Like, that's very cool. Now I get really excited when they say that they always come back and they're excited for the next one, because we did sweatshirts. I'll have to send you one. You dig the sweatshirts. And then like the RX podium winner called me. And when you have somebody call you, you're like, oh no, what did I do wrong? Like, chances of applying for something good is 0, but they were like, Sarah, your prizes were awesome. Like, and I lucked out with some great sponsors. Vindicate, Lifting the Dream, Paper Street gave us some money. Hero Barbell was one of our like gold level sponsors, and I don't know if you've heard of Steel Monkey. Wow, they're incredible. So next time you have an event, definitely reach out to Steel Monkey. I'll have to give you his contact because that's a good dude, and their supplements are amazing.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
And when you were talking about kind of how we had a checklist of things we did,
Oh yeah,
I would
yeah.
think
Tell me checklist.
the things that I first started with. So like when I look at, I really like what you said about the relay, and I really like to look at, I want to maximize how much time both athletes or three, like however many athletes I have, are working out. So
Yep.
I usually will draw out my either ideas, and I'll make like a little like pillar or tower next to it or something like that. And it's like, all right, if this workout or if this entire comp has this many minutes of exercising, time on the floor in it, right? How much time is each person working out? So like I drew my tower for workout 1, and I'm like, okay, I'm thinking that it's going to be about 5 minutes for the first part, right? We have an 18-minute window, but 5 minutes for the first part. Both athletes are probably going to work out 2.5 minutes each. All right. So there's 2.5 minutes of you resting. And then for the lifts, you guys, it's a little bit harder because that's the rest of your time period. And you guys are going to be rested in between each lift. So I'm not even really going to think about that. That's however many lifts I think you're going to take, like 5 to 6. Now, workout 2, I have 9 minutes, and I know in that time period there is to win. Both athletes have to be working most of the time, in that workout, because you either have to be holding or have to be doing the workout to get the reps. And I made that one the shortest because I don't like to put that in workouts where it's just to win. You have to do more work than the losers, but it's all right in that time period because both athletes are doing the most amount of work. And then for workout 3, for that time period, you're pretty much both going to be working the whole time. If that 1K row takes 4 minutes, then you'll both be working for 2 minutes. You'll have 2 minutes of rest on the front end and the back end. For the synchro thrusters, you both have to be working, so that covers that. And then for your pull-ups, that's the lowest amount of reps for everything in the workout. So if you're resting during that, I'll give you 3 minutes for the pull-ups. You both be working for 1.5 minutes, rest for 1.5 minutes. So in my 16-minute workout, there's 4 minutes of rest per person. And I'm like, all right, that's acceptable for me now. So for my whole freaking, what did I say? I had like 35 minutes of total working out time. Then both athletes are working out for like 25 minutes of that 35,
Yeah, that's really a great way to do it. Like that's smart.
And like that's what if you have a partner competition, then that's what you should be looking at. There's competitions that I've seen where it's like 3-person competition, and then every workout is all right. You're only going to be every athlete's only working out one time, relay style. Like it's cool to have that for one
you can't
workout.
Overdo the relay. Yeah, and that's the
and
first
if you don't
workout,
have that hold like you talked about, then you're really out of there,
And there's a way to fill it, right? So my first workout, wasn't going to keep going. After they came in for the run, they were going to be done for the rest of 5 minutes. And I'm like, no, they got to keep working. They got to keep doing something. So they keep going with their own ram rap. They're moving. The only rest
it's short
they
enough
get,
for that is that it's not going to overdo it for your person,
Right. It just keeps them going. And, but the only rest they would get is the amount of time that it takes that person to run and deadlift, which is it was a 400-meter runs, but like hardly, it was like slightly under. So it was like less than
2.5, 3 minutes. Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah. It was like it was maybe 2 minutes, so, that change was necessary. And then the last one is like, you really want to have everybody moving or you're going to lose. My middle one was you got some time to rest for sure. That was more relay style, but it was good because it warmed you up, but didn't crush you to lift heavy right afterwards. But I like what you had to say. And sometimes with a 3-person, it's like, if you add a hold, it makes a tremendous difference.
Yeah, exactly.
I've been to a competition where the sandbag hold, just like how you had. So like when you said that, like I could see myself holding that thing, and that's work. Like that is work, and such a simple thing that you can add. That's now like, all right, this just got that much harder because when you're done with the sandbag, to ask you to perform any type of burpee or any type of lift or jump is that much more significant, right? So,
Oh, hell yeah.
really,
Once you get your heart rate up and you pick that sandbag, it's like, oh, this is a whole different world, you know?
yeah. I'm going to be working on Phoenix Classic workouts. I've thought about not outsourcing it, but having a sponsor of like a higher fitness
Program.
program it. I currently have a coach, and I love how he programs, and I would just be interested to see how he would write them. I don't know if he'd be up for something like that, but I always wonder, like, is there something that I'm not seeing from the outsider's point of view that they would just do in such a creative way?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's always good to be open to things like that, you know, even if you don't pursue it, just being open to it is good enough sometimes, you know.
I stole some ideas from you as you were talking. Isabel is something I've always wanted to mess with too.
It's like doing it in a way that like this throws a little bit of twist on it. Maybe you put a little bit of your personality into it, all those different things, because at this point, like anyone can really just go say, hey, I have a comp quarter account. I'm going to put these workouts together on the same day for people and say it's a competition. But like, what can you do that's like your expertise to make it a little bit different, you know, and in complement with the rest of the things that you want to do?
And I do think, I do think, and this is just the world of like business, in order for something to run again, like how many signups can I get? Like, is what I write going to deter people from coming? Because that is a factor. As much as we want to program the things we want to program,
oh hell yeah.
If our buyers are not going to buy into it, we can't program that. So, like, I do see a future. I know for my comp where there's RX, intermediate, and scaled, because yours is different than mine. Like, I wouldn't go bar muscle up because where we are, I don't think that I would see as big of a turnout with teams of three. I mean, maybe I would if I made it so only one athlete had to do the bar muscle up. That'll probably be me dipping the toe into it. But I also think that I would get more if I opened up another division for that. However, whenever you open up another division, what happens? It's an added expense for podium prizes, right? So like,
I was gonna say, it's people don't understand that, like, you just open up, you're like, they're like, oh, more people, but it's like, now I'm divesting of a purse of whatever the purse is, you know, no matter if it's on the front half or the back half. And
you almost want to be like, you know what, I'll open this up, but you got to bring me 3 more teams. Like,
facts.
Yeah. Anyways, and cash prizes is another big topic too nowadays. I mean, I run all of my comps for nonprofit, so I haven't ever messed with a cash prize, which makes me super proud of the amount of people that we get out here. But now that I'm seeing that if you had a cash prize, like, wow, it goes up. Part of me is playing with that idea of somehow incorporating a cash prize, because you'll get all kinds of walks of life if you say you're going to give $1,000 to first place. You know what I mean? When we were done with the comp, I had one of the members of like the women's CrossFit community come up to me. She's from ARCS, and she let me know that the owner of CrossFit ARCS was recently diagnosed with breast cancer. I know she's okay with me sharing this because she's kind of gone public with the information. I've talked to her a few times. And we didn't know this until after the competition was already off and running. It was like the middle of it. And she was able to apply. Here we go. Here's the word that I was looking for at the beginning. Apply for a grant from Compete for a Cure. And so the money that we raised for our competition was able to go directly to Lauren Connor from ARCS. And I think that was a huge thing for us, was like, this thing that we're doing here is supposed to help those in the community, and even more so those like in our direct community. So it was unforgettable. It was awesome. And I'm excited for next year, but I'm also nervous because topping that is going to be fun and a challenge.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. Sure.
So I guess my last question for you, well, I technically have one more because we should just end it with always the same question every time. But the question for you now is, how much time do you try to take off before you hop back into it? I know we talked about at the beginning about being excited for the next thing. How much time do you think you need off, like, to give your brain completely before you start having the wheel spinning again?
I guess the month was good. Because I'm hungry for it. This year is exceptionally different as I'm moving my entire gym, my entire facility to Asbury Park. I mean, I've been talking about that for a long time now. Um, so a month is good, but like we did events after that with my gym. We did a ruck on Veterans Day, and the wheels don't stop turning just because I completed an event. You know what I mean? But I definitely backed off a big event until then. So I would say a month is the amount of time that I say, let me wait on this. The thing about it though is, Taylor, if you want it to grow, you have to give it constant attention. So for example, last weekend I wore my Babes and Barbells sweatshirt to the Meadowlands Classic. And, Gabe from Paper Street was there, and I made sure to go up and give him a big hug and thank him and keep him informed. The guys from Steel Monkey were there, same thing, gave him a big hug, keep him informed. Thank John, the owner of the Meadowlands, for coming out. Travis from Vindicate, we ordered more sweatshirts. So to tell you the truth, I don't really take a break. I just step off the gas. For about a month. And to be honest, I could probably wait until January because everybody else's feed is going to be like Christmas crazy. and then hop back on it. So it is during a time where, like, during the holidays, I could probably back off a little bit. And I always, when I run it again, I offer something to the returning athletes. Yo, sign up now. And it's only this much.
Right.
Because you would be surprised. I think you'll get this with Girls on Girls. They'll message you.
When's it coming up? Yeah.
They'll message you other things too, like when you see them at a comp, they know you, and it's just like how you have a King of Prussia community and I have an Asbury Park CrossFit community. There's a Babes and Barbells community, especially now year 2. And because I sold like things for that brand,
memorabilia,
and it doesn't say Babes and Barbells Asbury Park CrossFit, it's Babes and Barbells. So there is a Babes and Barbells community, and it is so cool to go to one and see another one of them competing. So if you're a Babes and Barbells athlete and you ever see me at a comp, like, tell me when you're going because I want to see it. And then again in October.
So on that note, what's next? What are you hungry for?
What am I hungry for, dude? I just got off like a little meeting about like Black Friday and how to go about Black Friday. It's just what am I hungry for? I'm trying to grow our gym community right now, and like I said, we are moving. So the next things I'll be planning I plan on doing like a soft opening and a grand opening. And then, of course, as I'm thinking about planning this soft opening and grand opening, I get my friend Chris Bellina going, all right, dude, when's the next Phoenix Classic date? And I'm like,
You're right.
Let's do it. I did make qualifiers for Fittest of the Coast this year, but I'm not sure that that's in the cards for me, being that we are moving. So right now everything is about keeping my community tight knit and giving all of my members my undivided attention right now. I would say that's what it's for. Right now, I'm hungry to give my members every piece of me. Yep.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Look at that. That's a fucking great way to end right there. Giving the members every piece of you,
Yeah. There's some
just get ready, bro. There will be a third strength sport coming out at Super Total 2024 that everyone will be competing in. Everyone will be throwing down on this.
Just like my members only Super Total to get them amped up for your Super Total. Cause I really,
hell yeah.
Me and Nikki came in last year, but you got to see this. Shout out Kieran. You got to see my coach Kieran, man. He's insane.
Yeah. I would love to have as many people out there as possible. I even though we talk about you try to expand the people that participate in your events. I think that last year was about capacity as far as time. There's not many more things that I can do with the space that I have right now to make the time better. So right now for me, it's just going to be about upping the experience, adding and taking away things that will either add or take away from the experience for the athletes there. But yeah, I can drop that right now. There's the date, and you could expect to see a third strength sport for everyone to have to compete in at Super Total 2024. Boom.
Dude, make that third thing a floater, and then people are working more often or something. I don't know. I'm sure you got the plan up there in your head.
Yeah, the plan's there.
Yeah. But I'm excited for it. I'm excited to see what you do next. Keep me in the loop.
Hell yeah, dudes. All right, guys, this has been Sarah Murphy here, like we said, director of both Babes and Barbells and the Phoenix Classic. Phoenix Classic will be coming up first as far as timeline out there, but we're still a few months away. You guys can go check out everything she's doing at Asbury Park Fitness. That's the Instagram handle, and then Sarah Murphy, I believe. Both of those things should be short, easy to go find on Instagram, Facebook, and the interwebs. Sarah, you have any last things to say to the people?
No, I mean, sign up for our competitions. What are you guys doing? It's a good time.
Yeah, hell yeah. Go Google that stuff. Sign up for our stuff, guys. All right. So this has been Taylor and Sarah. We're getting out of here. Peace.